Hello, this video is designed to help you understand how to do a close read. So the first time that you read a text, you really just want to get a sense of what it's saying, make sure that you understand any unknown words, maybe get a sense of any important information. So the directions on a close reading assignment tell you to make notes in the margin. If you go up to Insert on your Word program, you'll find that there is a place where you can choose to insert a comment, and so that allows you to make annotations in the margin as you're reading through the file. So I'm going to show you how to do that here today. And other things you might want to do are highlight some important information in yellow. So if you're looking for key details to help you understand the main idea or what a passage is mostly about, it can also help you summarize later. And then highlight in green words that you don't know and try to figure them out in context. And if you still struggle with what the words mean or you want to check your understanding, then go look up the words and make a note about what the definition is, and then practice using that vocabulary in sentences in your everyday life when you're talking to people or even in your writing, and that will help to build your vocabulary and commit those words to memory. So this close reading is looking at an article from Europe to Africa, and the Associated Press contributed to this story. So the first thing that I like to do before I read anything is I just kind of skim over it a little bit and get a sense of any text features that I can see. So I see there's a part 1. So I want to kind of see how many parts are in the article, just so I know how much I'm going to be reading here. And then there's a part 2. Okay, so great. So I'm assuming that these two parts are going to be related to each other in some way. And then I'm going to find out why, like what's between part 1 and part 2. And it's something that maybe I might want to just take a note of just for myself. So there are 2 parts to this article. So that's just something that I want to know. It helps me to understand the organization of the article as well. The other thing I noticed is there's an infographic here, and it looks to be a picture of the Earth. And so I'm going to look at the caption. So I know, okay, the picture came from Wikimedia Commons, so that's a nice reference source if maybe I want to go and read the article that was associated with this particular image and see what other information that I can find. But the caption says that this photo was taken from space. People hope to build a tunnel under the water. From this would link Europe to Africa. Okay, so that makes sense because the title says from Europe to Africa. So now, thanks to the infographic, I have a little bit more information about what my article might be about. So I've already have some idea of the main idea. So I'm going to go up to Insert again on my menu bar, and I guess you can't insert in a text box. I'm just going to go ahead and put it next to the title and make a note. So Insert Comment, and the infographic or the image tells me that people want to build a tunnel connecting Europe and Africa. And when I look at the picture, I see that it appears that there's just a little bit of water that separates the 2 continents. So I'm going to put that maybe, well, I have a question. Will this make travel easier for people? I would think that maybe the tunnel, like, can they drive on it or do they walk through the tunnel? So I'd like a little bit more information about how the tunnel works. How will the tunnel change transportation? Because I'm curious to know, does this mean that they don't need ferries or boats, or does this mean that they could take their vehicles when they go? That would be kind of cool if you could take your car with you across the ocean in a tunnel. So I'm going to hopefully get some answers to these questions as I'm reading. So I find out that Tarifa is in Spain. Okay, so maybe I didn't know that. So Tarifa is a place in Spain. And for 25 years, engineers have dreamed of linking Europe to Africa at the spot where 2 very different worlds gaze at each other across a strip of choppy water. Okay, so they're pretty close. And it just highlight that, I think. So engineers have dreamed of linking Europe to Africa. So I think maybe this is important because this tells me it's not a new idea. It's something that they've been thinking about doing, I mean, for 25 years. So I kind of want to know that this is something that's been planned. Like, it's not just something that they're dreaming about doing, but they're planning to do it. So now it looks like the dream could become a reality. So it's really cool. Officials are moving closer, signing off on a high-speed rail tunnel connecting the two continents. So a high-speed rail tunnel. So I guess there will be some opportunity for advanced transportation here that will connect the two continents. So just want to keep a note of that. That seems like it's something that might be important. The two for passenger and freight trains would be located deep under the Strait of Gibraltar, the narrow waterway where the Atlantic Ocean flows into the Mediterranean Sea, and would run from Tangier, Morocco, to the Spanish town of Tarifa at Europe's southernmost tip. So this really tells me the length of the rail. So I'm going to go back up here to insert and comment. I want my comment to be here at the end of the passage there. So the tunnel will go under the Mediterranean Sea. And I want to note that it's a high speed, because that answers one of my questions, high speed railway. So I kind of have a better idea of how the tunnel is going to operate. So that sort of helps to clarify the question I had in the very beginning. European engineers are conducting a study this year to determine the feasibility of the project. I'm not really sure what this word might mean. So I'm going to go ahead and just highlight that, because I don't know if this is a word that maybe I haven't seen before. So let me reread just a little bit and see if I can understand this word. I don't know. European engineers are conducting a study this year to determine the feasibility of the project. If all goes well, work on the tunnel will begin in 2008. So I'm thinking, from what I read here, that they've been dreaming about this for a while, but they haven't started it yet. It seems like a pretty big project. Let's see. I know there's an affix here. This word seems to have a suffix on the end, so feasible. Maybe that's the root word, feasible. And it looks like it might be a tough project, so they're doing a study. I wonder if this word might mean easy, to see how easy or how possible it might be. So I'm just going to make a note here, and then maybe later I can look up the word and see if I find out what it means. So they're determining the feasibility of the project, the likelihood. I need to look up this word to better understand the context in this passage. But I think it might be feasible, might be likelihood, or maybe possibility, or maybe ease. I know. I'm not really sure, but I think that it might be something like that. And so that really helps me understand that this is something that might not be very easy. So I'm just going to check my word later. Oh, here's a quote. I think this project is a utopia that is becoming a reality. Utopia. Okay, that's another word maybe I want to take a look at a little bit later. Utopia. Said Angel Aparcio, president of the Spanish government agency that is overseeing the endeavor with Moroccan partners. So a utopia, maybe a good thing. It seems like they're really excited about doing this. So I'm going to just make a note here. I think utopia is a good thing, maybe like a happy creation. So I think this word is really positive, because it seems like they really want to do this project. So I'm going to look up that word a little bit later just to see if I have a clear understanding, but I think it's probably a really good thing. Officials have justifiable reasons to be excited. If completed, the tunnel would be an engineering marvel on par with the Panama Canal, which runs across Central America to link the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, and the Channel Tunnel, a rail tube between Britain and France, the European Africa tunnel could fuel the economies on both sides of the Strait of Gibraltar by allowing goods and tourists to pass back and forth easily. Okay, so it seems like maybe this is something that they've done before, that they've created these kind of linking tunnels. So I'm just going to make a note that this type of project is possible because they've done something similar in the past. Okay, so what I would do is I would go through the article in this way, and I would continue to highlight important pieces of information or key details, and maybe I would even want to go through again during the second reading and see if there's anything else that I pulled out or that I missed. But I'd continue making annotations about what I'm reading, asking questions, trying to define words that I don't know as I'm reading. And that's really what you'll want to do for your very first read. And then when you get down to the second read here, as you read the text below, answer the questions that follow each paragraph. So what I've done for you is just to help you focus on important pieces of information in each paragraph. If you did not highlight those or make note of those as you were reading the first time around, throughout the second read, it asks you to reread through the entire article, and then as you're reading, you start looking at other things maybe that you didn't look at in your first reading. You're digging a little bit deeper in the second read. So for example, if I were to first read the paragraph that I've already read before with you, what literary device is used in the phrase two very different worlds gaze at each other across a strip of choppy water? So now that was something that I noted before, that, oh, it looked like that they were pretty close together. I saw that in the image, and I said, oh, this looks like something that maybe they could actually do that might be realistic. But I didn't really think about literary devices that were used when I first did this. And so now I'm going back through and I'm rereading that engineers have dreamed of linking the two continents at the spot where two different worlds gaze at each other across a strip of choppy water. Well, I really like the way that that sounds, and it made me understand the closeness of the continents, and it was using personification. So the literary device used in the phrase is personification. And so that's something that maybe I would want to make another note of, was the use of the personification. How is that helpful for me? And now, and I'm not asking you to do this in your assignment, but if I were really, doing the close reading where I went through and asked myself other questions and was rereading for understanding, well, now I've found something else that I didn't see the first time. So I'm going to insert a comment, and I'm just going to say, wow. The personification really helps me to understand how close these two continents are to each other. So it's great, because that was a little bit more understanding than I didn't have before I reread the passage. And so each question is something I might ask you to go back and look at something we already did. I already noticed in my first reading that I wasn't really sure what this word means. So now that I get down here, if I'm rereading again and I'm like, oh, wait, this was a new word for me, and I remember I spent a little bit of time trying to figure out in context, what did I come up with? Then I might just want to scroll back up to my annotation and say, oh yeah, that's right. I thought feasibility means likelihood or possibility or ease, and if I still am not really sure, then this is a great time where during my rereading I can go back through and just check that information out, and I might go to dictionary.com and just look it up and see what feasibility means and see if I was right. And I'm pretty sure that my word skills and using those context clues really helped me out, so I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to be at least in the ballpark with a synonym there for that word. And so you'll just want to continue to do that as you're moving through each question. And then finally, after you answer each question for the second read, then there's a prompt that asks you to consider something overall. And this prompt asks about building a tunnel from Europe to Africa would require new technology, billions of dollars, and perhaps 20 years of construction time. So a list of things that I will discover in both readings cause problems, why this has been a dream but not a reality yet. And some think this project is worth the cost. What do you think? Use evidence from the text to support your answer. So this is an opportunity then where I, as the reader, can go back through and reflect on what it was that I've read. So I read what they want to do, why they want to do it, what some of the problems are that they're facing as they plan to do it, and now I can think about it. Okay, do I think this is a good idea? Do I think it's something that's going to happen? And that's how you would complete the close read for this particular assignment. If you have any questions, ask your teacher.